Hey everybody, this is Dream, and today we have a 3-game slate for hockey. We're going to do both DraftKings and FanDuel today, so just keep that in mind here. Before I get started though, can you guys smash that like button and that subscribe button? It really helps the channel a lot. Let's go ahead and get into the players I do like today. So we have some goalie options. We're going to stick with two different options I think are pretty solid today, but my overall best is going to be Marc-Andre Fleury from Minnesota. He looks like he's in a good position to win, and he should be able to score a decent amount of fantasy points on this particular slate, and he's favored as well, and so I really like him here. The other is Thomas Greiss for St. Louis. Now he's got some good upside too, even though his team is not favored to win, so do keep that in mind. And he isn't confirmed yet, so do make sure to note that. Fleury is set to play. He is confirmed already, so that is good news. But we don't have St. Louis confirmed for Greece yet. So just keep that in mind if you choose to lock him in early on. You want to check close to the slate to make sure that they are set. So from the center perspective, I have three guys to take a look at here. Elias Lindrom first. He's just been playing extremely well. As you can see, he doesn't even have a game where he's had a lot of really good games lately, and he's been playing plenty of minutes, which is what we like, and he's getting a lot of opportunities, scoring fantasy points. He's had a couple off games, but overall he's been really solid this season, averaging 10 fantasy points per game, and so I think he's in a really good spot here, and he's a good price too, like at this 5,900 price point, he's very solid at that. Then we're going to look at Nazem Kadri for $6,900 for Calgary. Obviously, they are favored to win today, and I like both him and Lindrom. I do like Lindrom a little bit better, simply he's a little bit cheaper, and they both have similar upside, but he's slightly a better player than Lindrom is, so that is part of the reason why his price is higher. But if you can't really afford him, it's good to just pay for Lindrom instead. And then we're going to look at Barzal for the New York Islanders for in this position. Now, he's been inconsistent, but he's got some upside in this matchup, and his price is solid, and he is expected to get a W as well, so I do like him here. For wings, we're going to take a look at first Huberdeau for Calgary. He's averaging 7.4 fantasy points per game. He's been somewhat up and down the last few games, but I expect him to play well in this game where he should have opportunity to score points. Then we'll look at Vladimir Tarasenko for St. Louis. He has had some nice games lately, a little bit inconsistent, but just like hockey is. He's got some upside in this matchup, averaging 10 fantasy points a game. Then we'll look at Anders Lee here for New York Islanders at $5,700. His price point is really solid, and as you can see, while he's only had a few rough games lately, he has some big-time upside, and he's also averaging around 10 fantasy points a game. And then Patrick Kane for Chicago. He isn't favored to win here, but he has been playing well lately, and so I expect him to continue that. Even if they do not win, he should still be able to get some opportunities to score some points. And then I've got one wild card here, Taylor Radish for Chicago. His price point is just extremely cheap, and he's been scoring points pretty decently lately. He's a good way to put in the utility player spot, or even into one of the wing spots, in order to get yourself some free money opened up, because he does run on the second line and the first power play line, so I think he's in a viable spot on this particular slate. Then for defensive players, we're going to take a look at Rasmus Anderson here for Calgary. He's also in a really good spot price-wise, and he's in a good, on a decent situation here, where he's also averaging around 10 fantasy points a game. Then we're going to get Torrey Krug for St. Louis. Now, he's another guy that I think is almost must play on the slate, with his price point being $4,900. He's another good way to save some money here at the defensive position, and he looks like he's in a solid situation as well, averaging about 8.5 fantasy points a game. But he's had some solid games lately, and so I look for him to have a decent game here as well. And then Seth Jones here at $6,000 for the Chicago Blackhawks. He has some upside in this matchup, and he's been playing pretty solid lately, and his price point's pretty fair for what he's been doing. So that's what I have here for DraftKings. We're going to go over here on FanDuel now, and we're going to talk about who I like over here the best. So from the goalie perspective, Andre Fleury is in the best position. He is set to potentially get the W, and he's got some nice upside. Obviously, he's pretty expensive, but if you want to go a little bit cheaper, now he's not locked in yet, but Thomas Greiss looks like he's in a pretty good spot here, and I do like him as a good value option at goalie, at least from the perspective of the price that he's at. Then we're going to look at the centers here, and we're going to start with Elias Lindrum. He's a little bit too cheap over here on FanDuel for what he has potential to do in this game, so I do think he's in a good spot, and I do like him with some upside at this price point. On FanDuel here, obviously we have a little bit more room money-wise, and there's a little bit more value, even though some of the players are actually a little bit more expensive than they are on DraftKings. Nazem Kadri is also in a good spot here. His price is a little bit higher, though, so do keep that in mind. And he does play on the second line and not the first, so do keep that in mind as well. But he does have upside here on this matchup. And then Barzal for New York Islanders, he's on the first line and on the first power play line, and he looks like he's in a solid spot on this slate, and so I look for him to have a nice game, and his price point is pretty decent as well. Then we're going to look at wings, and we're going to start with Jonathan Doe, who's just really priced well here on FanDuel for what he's been doing and what he has potential to do in this matchup against Calgary. Though he is on the second line, so keep that in mind. And the same goes for Tarasenko, who's also pretty inexpensive here on FanDuel, and he's got a nice upside on this matchup, and he also plays on the second line. And then two a little bit more expensive options are Patrick Kane, who's also decently priced on FanDuel especially. Well, both sites really, both of these guys are, and he has some nice upside on this matchup, as well as Anders Lee, who has been playing, averaging around 12 fantasy points per game rather, last 10 or so, and he's been playing. He has some pretty good upside, and this is a nice matchup for him. From a defensive perspective, it's a little bit harder to find value on FanDuel than it is on DraftKings, but we're going to look at Seth Jones first for Chicago. He's been playing pretty solid lately, and I think he's a good value play on this slate, and you should be able to fit him in as long as you don't pay up too much for too many other players. And the same can go for Rasmus Anderson for Calgary. He has some nice upside on this matchup, and he's been playing really solid lately. And then we're going to look at Noah Dobson. If you pay up a little bit for a guy at defense, then he'd probably be the guy to do that for the Islanders. Though I do caution utilizing him simply because he is playing on the second line, and for the price point, it's not as ideal. But he has nice upside regardless. So that's what I have here for hockey on FanDuel and DraftKings. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. Thank you again for liking, commenting, subscribing, and have a nice day, guys.